Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch. Brought to you by, incredibly enough, thegaminggang.com. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Wednesday, July 13th, 2022. This is live stream 807. If you are not familiar with the dispatch, let me point out super casual around here, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And normally we will take a first look at a tabletop game. So tonight I am going to be diving on in and paging through Call of Cthulhu, Cults of Cthulhu, from my friends over at Chaosium Inc. Yes, scatty kids, scatty. Yes, Dr. Tongue's House of Stewardesses. So if you're not familiar with the stream, let me point out we're going to tackle the tabletop gaming news first. So it's probably going to be about 30 or 40 minutes until we jump on into Cult of Cthulhu. So if you're watching live, just put your feet up, relax, take it easy. You've had a long day. Enjoy yourself. But if you are watching 30 minutes or more after this stream ends, there will be timestamps. So if you don't want to catch the tabletop gaming news of the day, just want to jump right on into the page through, by all means, feel free to use those timestamps. In fact, depending on the device you might be using, they might be right there on the timeline of the video. So there is that. Should also mention, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the channel. Also, it's a live stream, so that means there's chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And there are unusual commenters out there. But if you want to say howdy, maybe got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. Should also mention you need to be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before you can comment. So there is that as well. All right. So normally I'd be getting ready to jump on into the news. But first off, let's see who we've got in chat. First of all, we've got Mr. Eddie T, the Motor City Madman himself. Yes, the Madman is with us. Kathy Evans, as well as Sarah D. So chat is off and running already. Also should point out, I know a lot of you out there watching already know this, and some of you might not. Some of you may not be subscribers to the channel, or maybe just don't kind of follow along with everything that kind of comes up, or like the little community page where I post info and what's coming up on the show and things like that. But if you didn't know, my dad had a heart attack back on July 5th, the morning of July 5th, and he has been in the hospital, and he underwent a triple bypass on Monday. Came through it like a champ. I did a quick update video, so if you want to get a little more detail into what's going on, by all means, feel free, check it out. I know hundreds of you have, and many of you have sent along some very kind thoughts and prayers. I'll get to that in just a sec. So, wanted to give you just a quick heads up on what's going on. So, as of today, my dad is still kind of in a fog. My father is 85 years old. He turns 86 on the 21st. So it is normal. That's what I've been told. This is not unusual. That he's not focused. And he dozes off a lot because he hasn't been sleeping much at night in the ICU. And 13 months ago, I had a triple bypass. I know the situation he's in. Of course, leading up to this hospital stay, kind of zoned out there for a minute. I'm exhausted, by the way. I'm wiped. This has just been so stressful. But of course, many of you have gone through the same kind of thing, or family members have as well. You understand. You get it. Anyway, I was going to say that prior to the bypass surgery, my father he was stuck in one spot. He couldn't move. They had cathed him and they ran a balloon up into his chest to help his heart beat. So he couldn't get up and move around. Now, when I had a triple bypass, I had to sit there for 6 days because of the blood thinner I was on. They had to kind of get that out of my system and replace it with a different blood thinner, because otherwise, if they had opened me up, I'd have just bled out. So that wouldn't be good. But I could move around. I had an IV and that was it. And I could walk around and get up out of bed, sit in a chair, do whatever. He has not been able to do that. So he did get up and sit down in a chair yesterday. And to be very honest with you, and if you follow the Gaming Gang, I talk about life. It's not all just games. I love games. I love doing this stream. I love shooting videos. I really love all the people who take time out of their busy day to watch the videos as well and take part in chat during the live streams. But it's not my life. I know there are some people out there who are gamers where it's like, that is their life. Sorry, Dooley, that ain't the case here. So anyway, I was there when my dad got up and they moved him to a chair. And of course, he needed a lot of help. Once again, he'd been laying in a bed for 8 straight days, and he had tremors. So his hands and feet were shaking. And I almost burst out in tears because I have never seen my father like that. My father is a very active 85-year-old. And the past few days since the bypass surgery, he has been a very frail 85-year-old man. And once again, I'm not used to seeing that. So, but everything's going well as far as the surgeons, the doctors, everybody we talk to. He is pretty much on track. We think he's probably going to end up having to go to a rehab facility. Oh, God, they keep calling it a nursing home. And it is freaking my dad out. It was freaking him out before he had the surgery. Now, with him being in a fog, it's even worse. I keep telling him, please call it a rehab facility. Don't call it a nursing home. Even though it's a nursing home, it's not going to be a nursing home for him. Anyway, but everybody's saying that he's on track. He's recovering nicely. And fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I know a lot of you out there have sent warm regards and get well wishes and your prayers. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. It really means a lot. I mean, so I'm going to get all teary-eyed, so I better stop. All right, so let's see who else has popped into chat. We've got Coco B. Boris is with us. Helga Ratbone. Let's see. I think I've said hello to Flaming Huron's here. So all 4 of our chat moderators are kicking it in chat right now. Very, very nice. So let's just take a peek. Everybody's saying hi. Hello, everybody. Flaming Heron says, I feel you are a member of our families too. Isn't that weird? But in a good way, right? It's in a good way. I should mention, of course, I'm going to Gen Con. Anybody, how about English, Jeff? I need to sip here. Right? That's good content, watching me take a sip, right? Oh, man. YouTube award winner right there. Those of you who might be going to Gen Con, by all means, shoot me an email. You know, I get together with people all the time, have an adult cocktail, grab a bite to eat, play some games. I am all for that. If you happen to be at Gen Con and you stumble across me strolling along somewhere, say hi. Stop me, grab me, say, hey, Jeff. Yell out, hey, Jeff, and watch like 3 people turn around, like, except me. Usually when people yell my name, I don't turn around because I assume they're yelling for somebody else named Jeff. But yeah, by all means, please stop me, say hi. And we're going to be trying to do some gaming. Looks like my nephew Cameron's probably not going to be there. It's still so up in the air. But my best friend Elliot Miller and his son Brian are going to be there from Thursday night on. So by all means, say hello. Maybe we'll play some games. Yeah, you never know. Never know. All righty then. So let's swing on into the tabletop gaming news because it's been a while. I have not done a show since before July 4th weekend. So hitting stores in August is Forbidden Depths. And here's the scoop from Grand Gamers Guild. Forgotten Depths is a 1 to 3 player co-op dungeon adventure game combining unique tile laying and hand management mechanics to deliver a quick playing but substantial experience of exploration and combat. The goal of the game is to get to the bottom of the dungeon and destroy the powerful entity that resides there. To make it, you'll need to improve your heroes by finding items and buying new abilities with experience points you gain by exploring. Those experience points are in scarce supply, though, and you'll need to balance between saving them for abilities and spending them on the healing and keys you'll also need. The game is played by alternating between 2 main activities, exploring and encountering. You'll start by exploring, creating the layout of the level as you play, and discovering ecological elements. You choose when and where to encounter the elements you discover, and you go back to exploring after each encounter. The game features 3 dungeon level ecologies, each with their own unique monsters, features, and hard to find legendary locations. There's character progression. Find and equip items and purchase abilities and spells with your hard-won XP. There are also 30 unique monsters. Never face the same monster twice in a playthrough. 30 unique dungeon features. Never discover the same feature twice in a playthrough. 12 hard-to-find legendary locations featuring unique encounters, treasures, and effects, including 2 difficult-to-obtain fabled swords, as well as 6 unique level bosses. The final boss has 27 possible configurations. Forbidden Depths is for 1 to 3 players, ages 10 and up, plays around 60 to 75 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $59.99 when it arrives on August 3rd. I like the art style of this. This looks pretty cool. I'm kind of digging this. This sounds kind of interesting. So there's a bit of tile laying as well as hand management. So pretty sweet. Like I said, you can see right now, that's pretty sweet artwork. I like that style. It's really cool looking line art. So once again, that is hitting stores on August 3rd. Also set for an August 3rd release is Cryptid Cafe from 25th Century Games. Here's the latest. You are a lead server at, you guessed it, the Cryptid Cafe, a Sasquatch owned restaurant packed with legendary creatures from all over the world. Gather food, fill orders, earn the most tips, and be crowned, dare we say, the most legendary server. Strategically dispatch your team of Sasquatch servers to the different food stations, gathering the much needed items to complete your customers' orders. As you serve the customers, they will give you tips based on their satisfaction level. However, with each passing round, the cryptids get more and more frustrated waiting for their food and will leave smaller tips. Eventually, they'll leave the restaurant if they are not served fast enough. If that happens, plan on giving the owner some of your tips at the end of the night. He doesn't like to lose customers. Actually, on a side note, I used to know some servers who, the restaurants they worked at, their boss would dip into their tips as well. And that's illegal. Sounds simple, right? Well, not so fast. Because you're not the only lead server working tonight. You'll be competing with other players who are trying to serve their customers as well. Spaces are limited, food stations are breaking, the orders are piling up, customers are getting angry. And you won't like me when I'm angry. It may be wise to share some of your tips with the chef so you get the food you need first. If all goes well, at the end of the night, you'll be the player crowned the most legendary server. There's also a solo mode included. Cryptid Cafe is for 1 to 5 players, ages 10 and up. Plays in 30 to 60 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $40 when it arrives, as I mentioned previously, on August 3rd. Well, I have to say, 25th Century, I believe, is going to be at Gen Con. I am reaching out to them. I do want to talk to them. I have never chatted with anybody from 25th Century Games. And this is another game that I kind of dig the art style to as well. This could be a lot of fun for the whole family. Andy Sykes is with us in chat. Howdy, Andy. Thanks for swinging on in tonight. So how about we talk a little wargaming? It's Wednesday. It's not really a Wargame Wednesday, but I can share a wargaming news piece because making its way right now into stores is Flashpoint South China Sea from GMT Games. Here's the dope. Flashpoint South China Sea is a 2-player strategy game that simulates the complex geopolitical contest currently taking place between the United States and China in a disputed region of the South China Sea. The game is driven by a card deck that captures developments ripped straight from today's headlines, bolstered by cards with a context-setting reading of recent history, and a set of speculative cards capturing a diverse range of potential future events. The Chinese player works to influence other countries in the region, establish territorial claims and regional hegemony, and improve its world standing. The U.S. player works to maintain influence with allied countries in the region, secure freedom of navigation, and keep China in check. Success for both players hinges on the support and allegiance of non-player countries in the region. The game stops short of dealing with a potential full-scale military conflict, which we hope that also doesn't happen in real life. Rather, it requires the nuanced exercise of political, economic, and military resources in a form of prima facie diplomacy on the waters, in the air, and ultimately in the minds of the people to achieve victory. As the United States player, can you defend the claims of your allies, stare down the Chinese player in a high-stakes game of chicken, and use your economic and military influence in the region to thwart China's expansion? Can you erode or limit Chinese world standing while frustrating their ambitions without allowing tension to get out of control? As a Chinese player, can you use your developing economic and military power in the region to solidify your claims and develop strategic dominance of the region? Flashpoint South China Sea lets you determine how this conflict will play out in a fast-to-play, easy-to-learn game. Flashpoint South China Sea is for 1 or 2 players, so yes, there is solitaire suitability. It is for ages 13 and up, plays around 30 to 60 minutes, and carries an MSRP of $45. I gotta say, this looks very interesting. I have talked about this game previously in the past with a news piece. I believe that was when it was on the P500. Well, now it is shipping out. In fact, I believe some customers have already received it. So pretty sweet. This looks pretty interesting. And this is the sort of kind of card-driven war game that I can get people to the table to play. Not only my best friend Elliot, but also my nephew Cameron as well. I don't know about my brother Greg. My brother Greg is more AEG kind of games. So, and a little bit of role-playing games as well. Craig Martin is with us in chat. Good to see you, Craig. Thanks for swinging on by to hang out with me and the gang. Or should I say the gang and I? The funny thing is, I would always be like, oh, Elliot and I did this. Or, Bob and I did this. Nowadays, almost nobody says and I. It's usually me and whoever. And to me, that just sounds odd. But, who knows? I'm sure when I say, oh, Laura and I went and did this, people are like, that sounds weird. So who knows? So Coco B talking about the Cryptid Cafe says, why Sam Quanches? Excuse me, sir. There's a handful of hair in my food. Well, you'd be one of those NPC monsters leaving. Be like, yeah, that's it. I guess the owner's getting some of your tips. So let's talk about some role-playing game news, because arriving next week from Wizards of the Coast is Dungeons and Dragons Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel. And here's the skinny. An anthology of 13 standalone adventures set in wondrous lands for the world's greatest role-playing game. Remember, that's Wizards' opinion, not necessarily mine. Through the mists of the ethereal plane shines the Radiant Citadel. Travelers from across the multiverse flock to this mysterious bastion to share their traditions, stories, and calls for heroes. A crossroads of wonders and adventures, the Radiant Citadel is the first step on the path to legend. Where will your journeys take you? Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel is a collection of 13 short, standalone D&D adventures featuring challenges for character levels 1 through 14. Each adventure has ties to the Radiant Citadel, a magical city with connections to lands rich with excitement and danger, and each can be run by itself or as part of an ongoing campaign. Explore this rich and varied collection of adventures in magical lands. It introduces the Radiant Citadel, a new location on the ethereal plane, or as some people like to say, ethereal, that connects adventures to richly detailed and distinct corners of the D&D multiverse. Each adventure can be set in any existing D&D campaign setting or on worlds of your own design. It introduces 11 new Dungeons and Dragons monsters. And there's a story for every adventuring party, from whimsical and light to dark and foreboding, and everything in between. The 224-page hardcover will be available with 2 covers. That retailer exclusive, that brick and mortar exclusive. And it's going to carry an MSRP of $49.99 when it hits stores next week on the 19th. That said, my copy is arriving tomorrow. So, normally, I do not do a live stream on Thursday nights, right? Dispatch is on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings, normally. But I don't do Thursday nights. I am tomorrow. So stay tuned because the book has to get here before 6 o'clock my time. It comes American Express. Yeah, it comes American Express. It arrives on a credit card. It comes FedEx. American Express. Why I oughta. And on occasion, sometimes the FedEx deliveries get here at like 9 o'clock at night. But usually they arrive much earlier than that. And one time they actually delivered my D&D books to the wrong address. But thankfully, that person was cool and actually drove over and dropped it off for me. So I was like, wow. Somebody could have been like, I don't care. Because you know how people are nowadays, even though it's illegal to keep something that's been shipped not to you, but you get it. Vast majority of people be like, whatever. This is mine now. So, I know some of you follow me on Twitter, so keep your eyes peeled on Twitter. And some of you follow what's going on with the gaming gang through the community page. So I always put up what's going to be on the show. So as of right now, expect a live stream for the first look at D&D Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central. And as an added bonus, you have to watch live. Well, no, I take that away. That I don't want to do that. I will have probably, because this is normally the case, that alternate art cover, and I always do giveaways. So I'll tell you how you can get into the running. I don't want to cheat people because a lot of people can't watch the stream live. So I don't want to. So the other thing, hopefully I can have at least one of our chat moderators who's hanging out in chat, because we may get some people who don't normally hang out. So, but then again, we also have that 48-hour subscriber thing. So that helps. So hopefully if you're curious about what's in Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel, you'll swing by tomorrow night. Christopher Rush has joined us. Kevin R. Smith is hanging out with us as well. All right, my final news piece. There's a new setting that's arrived for the index card role-playing game from Runehammer Games. And here's what I know about the fantasy and science fiction mashup, Hard Suit. Just sounds kind of dirty. Yeah, Hard Suit. Welcome to Atria, the world of ICRPG Hard Suit. Long ago, the orbital cities fell. The everlasting reached for the stars and found only destruction. Millennia later, the world of Atria is a lonely wilderness, but technology refuses to sleep. You awaken onto this strange world with no memory, only a vague sense of purpose. Those who don't burn join the rebellion. Somewhere between fantasy and science fiction is the vast, forested world of Hard Suit. Defy the Reb Web, find hidden allies in the Greenbow, and drink deep, friend. Tonight, we fight Habaka! I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. This index card role-playing game world supplement is the most expansive yet. Here are all the goodies. New rule systems for building and piloting your unique hard suit. A biomechanical wonder of a lost age. Press play gameplay. Start playing before you make a character. Yep, you're flying blind. 6 new hero origins. Remember who you were, master who you'll be. In-depth GM section with a super detailed campaign opener. Fully crawlable hex world of 20 regions. Atria, a land of wilderness and forbidden technology. There are 20 new monsters to terrorize even the best hard suit pilots and their allies. 7 voyages. These open-ended adventures embrace a hex-driven style, as well as loot tables, huge D100 tables you expect from Runehammer. The 150-page hardcover is available right now at DriveThruRPG for $26.50. You can also snag the PDF for $12.50. Sweet. So it's cool that we've got a new supplement that is dedicated to a new game setting for index card role playing. Sweet. Very cool. Because if you pick up the Master Edition, which I'm actually reviewing on Monday's show, there are 5 settings, although 2 of them are fleshed out far more than the other 3. Coco Beast says, Hankering's been giving play recaps and talking about hard suit. It's the last time I'm going to say it like that because that's going to bother my throat. So he's been sharing some info about it for a few weeks on his YouTube channel. Christopher Rush says, it looks pretty cool. Tessie Trekkie is hanging with us in chat. Says, Jeff is back again. Jeff is back. Tell a friend. That's pretty funny. Yes. Actually, it does help if you tell friends about the website and the channel. It really does. All right, that is it for tonight's news. Of course, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So, if you are going to visit DriveThruRPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com is a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always make a small donation by swinging on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang. And thankfully, there are people out there who do use those DriveThruRPG banner ads. And it's also DM's Guild 2 that we have banner ads for. Doesn't matter which one you use. Once you land on one of the One Bookshelf sites, wherever you go from there, the affiliate code still follows you. And other people also swing over to paypal.me to make a little donation. In fact, our latest generous viewer is the madman himself. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Big tip of the cap. Also, should mention that the madman's daughter is one of our role-playing game reviewers, and she has a review she sent in for Dead End for Savage Worlds. I just haven't gotten up yet. So with all the stuff going on, and I was like, yeah, holiday weekend, I'm just going to kick back. I'm not going to do a whole lot related to the Gaming Gang. I didn't realize I'd be taking this much time off. So stay tuned. I will have that review up in the next couple of days. Just taking a peek to see if I've missed saying hello to anybody in chat. I don't think so. I think we are in good shape. So one thing before we move on, we take a look at Call of Cthulhu, Cults of Cthulhu. Did want to mention, for some strange reason, lately, YouTube has been like cutting off the beginning of the streams. And it's normally my little portion where I'm like, hey, happy Wednesday. And then all of a sudden I think it's like 2 of the last 3 videos. It's like, seriously, it's just a few seconds. And when I begin the stream, I always wait a few seconds. That's why a lot of times you just have that little intro with the TGG logo. But yeah, a couple of the videos, it's kind of like all of a sudden you see me and I'm like, and then it's after I say, Like, hey, welcome aboard. Hey, we'll get started right after this, and then it's like, you just see me go like, and then, our intro starts. I don't know what's going on with it. I'm keep my fingers crossed. That doesn't do that with this one, but you never know. So the madman says he's looking forward to checking out that review that his daughter has put together. She won't share it with him. Yeah, it's Savage Worlds. So there is that. Russell Higgins is with us. Good to see you, Russell. So Flaming Heron says, damn, and here the madman thought he was going to get a sneak preview of that review. Nah, it's exclusive. It's exclusive to the Gaming Gang. All right, so as I mentioned, tonight I'm going to be taking a look at Call of Cthulhu, Cults of Cthulhu, but first, it's time for a brief intermission.
Let's come to...
You must buy this Wilkins coffee by the ton. What was that?
Another ton of Wilkins just arrived.
Do you want to walk a dog? It's something very special to carry a large Coke and a delicious hot dog wherever you're going. And it's a real money saver. The regular price for a large Coke, 35 cents. Hot dog, 40 cents. But with a walk-a-dog, all for 55 cents. Walk. Don't run to the snack bar now.
So many things to unpack from all those little drive-in intermission ads. For one, I highly doubt anybody would get away with having a kid in a dunce cap with crooked teeth, kind of crossed eyes. Oh, yeah, that would get everybody these days boycotting that company. Plus, as Russell points out, I'm unsure about ice cream being healthy and nutritious. Yes. And Wontkins lives. Amazing. That's right. No violence befell Wontkins in that Wilkins coffee ad. Sweet. Usually he's being murdered unmercifully. Testy Trekkie says, I want 55-cent Cokes and hot dogs back. I don't recall that. But I think when that came out, I was probably very, very tiny. Because that did look like it's late 60s, maybe early 70s. So I wouldn't remember that at all. That'd be pretty wild, right? Wow, you save 20 cents. Whoa. And then finally, I remember a lot of kids like that redheaded kid with the freckles. You would see tons of those kids in commercials. You don't see ginger kids in commercials anymore, do you? I guess I don't mean ginger. I know some people think that's like a derogatory term. I certainly don't mean it that way. But you don't really see kids like that in commercials anymore. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. Kevin says, this was back when smoking was good for you. Right there with your nutritious and healthy ice cream, of course. Boris says, hot dogs are worse than roadkill. Mr. Eddie T says, I take offense to the term, I'm a redhead. So, I mean, in all seriousness, Mr. Eddie T, do you find the term ginger offensive? I'm just curious because I've always thought of it. Sarah T says, you'll get over it, Ginger Ed. But also points out, as a redhead, she embraces ginger. So there you go. I'll be very honest. I've always preferred redheaded women. We won't go into it. Yeah. Just my thing. Just my bag. Gonna tell you. But this is not that kind of show. So we're not gonna get into that. All right. So without further ado tonight, I am gonna take a first look and page through Call of Cthulhu, Cults of Cthulhu from Chaosium Inc. All right. Right off the bat, I apologize. I am probably going to mispronounce a lot of these names. I'm sorry. It's written by Chris Lackey with Mike Mason and friends. I'm not exactly sure who the friends are. Artwork is provided by Loic Musi, Alberto Bontempi, Thomas Brown, Irene Cano, Christina Carroll, Caleb Cleveland, Stephen Cornu, Kring Demetrio, Emmanuel Desati, Michael Ellis, Andrei Fedosov, Durek Golchu, Nicholas Gray, Patrick Hell, Callie House. Like I said, I apologize. I'm trashing these names. Sorry. Pat LeBoyko, Sam Lofty, and Ernest Mason. This 366-page hardcover is available right now for an MSRP of $49.99. Or, of course, you can grab the PDF alone at DriveThruRPG for $24.99. So one thing I always try to remind people when I'm talking about Chaosium Inc. releases and we're taking a peek at them, if you're only planning on picking up the PDF, by all means, help me out. Go to DriveThruRPG through one of our banner ads. But if you want to pick up the PDF and you're kind of thinking, yeah, I might want the physical book at some point, go through Chaosium's site. Because I don't know if it's for everything that they sell, but the vast majority of their role-playing game releases, they will actually credit you the price of the PDF if you also end up buying the physical book, because if you buy the physical book through them, you get the PDF for free. Tessie Trekkie says, note to self, more Cthulhu City is needed. Sarah D's mentioning as far as redheads, so you're a glutton for punishment. Got it, Jeff. I don't know about the punishment part. I just have always found redheads to be feisty. So Coco B says, I apologize for name pronunciations, but I'm going to nail all the Lovecraftian cosmic horrors. Maybe not. Maybe not. Some people have told me my pronunciation of Nyarlathotep is incorrect. It's supposed to be Nayarl or something like that. It's like, yeah, okay. Just like a lot of people say my pronunciation, well, the pronunciation of Cthulhu is incorrect. So it's supposed to be almost unpronounceable. But I've heard it, and these are Lovecraftian scholars say Cthulhu, Cthulhu, something like that. I don't know, kids. So here we have Cults of Cthulhu. Ooh, scary, kids, scary. So before we dive in, I do want to mention the fine folks over at Chaosium Inc. were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But as always, neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. And these days, believe it or not, it's important that you know that. Some people, they think that I'm BSing them. No. No. It's important that I don't take any cash or anything other than a review copy when I share these first looks and share reviews. But, that's just me who thinks it's important, possibly. 245 Trioxin is with us as well. Kevin mentions my pronunciation is Chaosium's official one, for what it's worth. Yeah, but I'm sure people will argue with Chaosium. So, because everybody's an expert. At long last, the intricacies of the Cthulhu cult are revealed. Cult of Cthulhu guides you in the creation of complex and believable antagonists for your scenarios and campaigns. Villains who are more than just faceless minions and who embody the most terrifying threat of the Cthulhu mythos. Inside, you'll find a history of Cthulhu cults from the Victorian era to the modern day. 5 Cthulhu cults ready to be incorporated into your games. Detailed guidance on designing cults and their leaders, including a special cults worksheet. I swear, for a second, new monsters, new artifacts, and new spells. Plus, 3 scenarios concerning Cthulhu cults, spanning Gaslight Victorian, modern day, and the signature 1920s setting. Cult of Cthulhu delves into the human side of the dark and horrific world of those who worship the dead yet dreaming abomination known as Great Cthulhu. Great Cthulhu. It is for mature readers. It's a horror role-playing game. I would think, obviously enough, it is going to be for mature readers. I wouldn't sit there and say, oh, hey, 8-year-old child of mine, let's sit down for some cosmic horror role-playing. All right, jumping on in here. A few things to mention. I am not going to show off every single page from Call of Cthulhu, but I do want to give you a very good feel for what you're going to find in this book. Also, as always, I will still be here, picture in picture. So that means I'm going to be cutting off a little portion of the left side as we take a peek through. Kevin R. Smith says, even Chaosium says there's no authoritative pronunciation, and Rulk about Lovecraft's previous pronunciations too. Maybe that was talk about. Who is the big expert? Isn't it JT Soshi? I believe that's his name. He's the one who's always talking about how it's something like that. Christopher says, that's a pretty big book, huh? We're going to need a bigger book. So here is our table of contents. So we've got history of the Cthulhu cult, got some cults of Cthulhu, and creating a cult, monsters and artifacts, and cultists as well. Okay, so our adventures are Loki's Gift, Angel's Thirst, and A God's Dream. So there's mention of a Gaslight era adventure. So I'm kind of curious. I kind of have a vibe. I don't know anything about this. And it's possible Chaosium has announced this and I just have not seen it. I kind of get a feeling sooner rather than later, we are going to see a new edition of Cthulhu by Gaslight. Just my thoughts there. So, Tessie Trekkie's asking, what's the best Cthulhu game in chat's opinion? And mentions that he's partial to Fall of Delta Green. Yeah, I think the Fall of Delta Green is pretty cool. It is, in my opinion, a little bit more rules light than Delta Green. And it is kind of an interesting setting as well. I got to be honest. I mean, there are a lot of Lovecraftian games out there. In my opinion, nothing ever beats Call of Cthulhu. Just the adventures are good, the rules are easy. It's just, percentile dice for the most part. There were some changes in the latest edition that I wasn't super keen on with okay, so this is difficult, this is extreme, and then you're breaking down the skills. Okay, so that's half of this, that's 25%. Not a huge fan of that. I prefer just, okay, so if it's going to be more difficult, a penalty to the die roll. If it's going to be easier, give a bonus to the die roll. So we get the history of the Cthulhu cult. The Cthulhu cult is mentioned sparingly in Lovecraft's fiction. The Call of Cthulhu, obviously enough, and the Shadow over Innsmouth being the two major exceptions. But even within these stories, the author says little about what they are and how they actually operate. This chapter's primary purpose is to present a fleshed out history of the Cthulhu cult. So we get beliefs of worshipers. It looks like we've got a history of the cult. It looks like the cult kind of changes names throughout its history. Society of the Angelic Ones. I don't know. Christopher says they're partial. Plain old Call of Cthulhu. It's classic. It is. It really is. It is excellent. And I have to point out, folks over at Chaosium, super, super nice. I should be doing another in-depth interview, probably with Rick Meintz. I believe Michael O'Brien is supposed to be at Gen Con. It might actually be the first Gen Con he's been to, because he's in Australia. He's kind of their bigwig. So might get a chance to talk to him as well. So looking forward to it. There's always cool stuff coming from Chaosium. And all those, financial issues from the past, all over with, because those folks aren't really around anymore. Kevin says, oh, I just read that Roll20 and One Bookshelf are merging. Yes, I just got that news today. It was not in the news segment. That's, for most people, I think that's a little too inside baseball for a lot of folks. That is not a shocker, because we already know. I know we're getting off the topic of cults of Cthulhu. That's the live stream. That's what we do here. And I'm not going anyplace tonight, right? It's been a long time since I did a show, so I'm in no hurry. Of course, the people who are going to watch this after the stream ends are going to be like, for God's sake, man, show the book already. But we've kind of discussed in chat about how we're seeing some changes with Roll20 because Wizards of the Coast is going to have their own dedicated online table RPG virtual tabletop, and Roll20's got to adapt. That's why we're also seeing some Kickstarters lately for role-playing game releases that are also including the Roll20 version of the game, which we almost never see. In fact, I think it was just a few months ago. Off the top of my head, I don't recall what Kickstarter it was. It may have been a Kobold Press one that was the first, but we are seeing more and more of that. So Madman says the Astral virtual tabletop users aren't happy it's being shut down. I never even took a peek at it. It didn't really strike me as being any big deal with Astral. So there you go. Roll20 is going to, no pun intended, roll right in and take over where Astral was. So we got the Cults of Cthulhu. Okay. I don't know if you're actually watching on a device that's large, and the screen's large enough for you to read this text, but I ain't gonna read it out loud because it's impossible. So we're gonna get 5 different Cthulhu cults: the Elevated Order of Morpheus, And we aren't talking about Morpheus from The Sandman. That's the 1890s. Louisiana swamp cult from the 1900s. The Society of the Angelic Ones, which is 1920s. Esoteric Order of Dagon, or Dagon. Some people pronounce it that way. Sweet. That's very cool. And then we get the Church of Perfect Science. I almost said the Church of Scientology. But, so the Church of Perfect Science, which is modern. Looks like we got some pretty cool artwork throughout here as well. That's something else that we've seen with Chaosium. They've really upped their presentation in this latest edition of Call of Cthulhu, because for decades you had the same, we used to joke around, it was the Cthulhu font. The books all kind of look the same. Now present, and I'm not saying there was a problem with that. I mean, it still was great presentation and great content. But now everything just pops. It really does. So let's see. Look, we get a bookmark. Sweet. Okay, so let's jump in. Let's go to the Esoteric Order of Dagon and get a breakdown of what we're looking. Here we go. Okay. So we're going to get a breakdown background about the cult, which, of course, is from Shadow over Innsmouth. So we get a discussion of the rebirth of Innsmouth, the awful compact. What are the goals of the cult? I could break down here. The 3 oaths of Dagon. Structure. So we've got a high priest, town elders, deacons, acolytes, and everybody else. Financing, recruitment. We get some sample members. There's someone who's pretty far along with their Innsmouth taint. So I like how they've got, with the sample members, they have descendants of, is it Obed Marsh or Obadiah Marsh? I think it's Obed Marsh, who's kind of the founder, the cancer that rots Innsmouth away. So I like how we've got that, and then we've got a relation of, I can't remember Gilman's name. I think that's another character in the story. So that's kind of cool. It's like, it's got those Innsmouth taint bug eyes. Or then again, maybe it's, a physical thing. Let's not go, get into it too much there. So you got story ideas. So it looks like we've got a few NPCs. And then alternatives. So it says using the EOD in another time or location is pretty straightforward. The intent and structure of the order can stretch across many times and locations and just requires relocating elements of the Captain Marsh and Innsmouth story elsewhere. Sweet. And there's the Church of Perfect Science. I have to say, I'm thinking back. I am 99% positive. No, I can't say that. I've only run one modern Call of Cthulhu adventure, and that was actually modern at that point, was the 1990s. So I always have set my adventures for Call of Cthulhu during 20s and 30s. All right, so here we've got the breakdown of creating a Cthulhu cult. We have a nice spread there. It's Jonathan Frakes. Isn't this image from something else? Maybe not. Maybe it's an image I saw from this book as a preview. Because I know I've seen that image before because it was the same thing I thought when I saw it then. I was like, oh my gosh, Riker's a Cthulhu cultist? Christopher says that they love the way this edition's Call of Cthulhu books look. The trade dress, right? The little bookmarks, the old looking edges. It's great. And oh, does my cat love to destroy these little closed cloth bookmarks. So does my kitten. Mango likes trying to tear them apart. And I'm like, argh. So she shredded up my old school essentials classic rules tome bookmark. And I'm like, argh. At least, just the edge. But still, that's irritating. So that's kind of funny. Just jumping on through. Oh, okay. So we've got flowcharts and worksheets. It looks like we've got some examples here. The Brotherhood of Rely. That's another Lovecraftian word that doesn't have an established pronunciation. So, Flaming Heron asks, what was the one you did for Second Life? That was a 50s. That was from, well, I kind of bastardized it. That was from, is it Atomic Age Cthulhu? The name of the book? Because there was the greaser that shows up. Hey, man. It's kind of like a part greaser, part beatnik that was playing. All right, so here we have our cultist monsters and artifacts as well. So I'm going to take a guess we're going to get some new spells, maybe. So here we got the new monsters. Show off some of these. Would have liked to have seen these in color, but still, very nice artwork. Very cool. So we're going to have some, looks like these are some artifacts. Cthulhu shrooms. That's what it says right here. Cthulhu shrooms. All righty. And now we get into the adventures. Oh, here we go. New and variant spells. I had a feeling we'd get some new spells. It's like, well, we got here 4? Yeah. Or, well, 4 new or variant. No, I take that back. 6. All right, so we get into our adventures. We got Loki's Gift, which looks like this is Victorian era. Just kind of give you an idea of what some of these handouts will look like. And of course, I'm going to kind of skip through this relatively quickly because I'm sure we'll have some folks who tune in and we don't need to spoil any of the adventures, right? Okay, so it looks like something happens in a theater. Angel's Thirst. So this is probably a prohibition themed adventure. And I'm curious if these 3 adventures might have some strands that tie them together. That'd be pretty cool. Flaming Heron says, yeah, illustrations are always better with color. I feel the same about the ones in the Wifrip Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition books. I have commented that before. I have said that before that I would have liked to have seen them in color. And I've actually had some folks mention that, for one, I'm nuts. Well, that's fine. Whatever. But they've also pointed out that the reason why they're in black and white is kind of a nod to previous editions of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. So that could be the case. Right, so zipping on through this. I will point out these adventures have some heft to them. Oh, there was a spoiler. You just saw the monster from that. And then we have A God's Dream. The world is indeed comic, but the joke is on mankind. That is a quote from H.P. Lovecraft. Oh, happens in Chicago. Look at this. So here's one of the things that I'm usually curious about when I see adventures that are set in a city, in a real life city. And it was one of my knocks about, does love forgive? For Call of Cthulhu, there was, the first adventure was set in Chicago, and it was written by, I think they were Polish game designers off the top of my head. And as someone who grew up and spent about 30 years in the city of Chicago, and who's in the city quite often, it bothers me when they get things wrong about the city. Even from the 1920s. So there were some portions where it's like, this address overlooks something else. And it's like, no, it doesn't. It's like, did you just, pull these streets out of, oh, hey, Michigan Avenue. Sure. Flaming Heron says, ran a few adventures set in Chicago at certain times in history. And he hopes that he did the city justice. I'm sure you did. It's just like I'll listen to an audiobook, and if the audiobook, maybe it's got something to do with Chicago, and the voiceover artist, narrator, whatever you want to consider, the actor reading the book, they mispronounce suburbs and things like that, it irritates me. Because it's kind of like, they should, should have done a little research. All right. Then we get our characters and monsters. All right, then we see all of our handouts here. Mr. Eddie T says Lori Lightfoot, who is the mayor of Chicago. Could be a cult member from the looks of it. Yeah, she is. She's not aging well. And I was going to say, I don't mean any offense, but I guess it's offensive for me to say this, but she's looking more and more like an old man rather than a woman. So it's kind of like, So Flaming Heron says, if you're watching and expect to play these adventures as a player, what the hell are you doing here? Well, I'm sure we got players who tune in to hang out in chat. So here's our worksheets. We got the cult worksheet and then the cult leader sheets. And we've got our index and our biographies of our authors. And that is a look at Call of Cthulhu, Cults of Cthulhu from Chaosium Inc. Once again, this is available now. It is 368 pages. It's available for an MSRP of $49.99. Or if you're only going to get the PDF and only have interest in the PDF, by all means, swing on over to DriveThruRPG, pick it up for $24.99. But use one of our banner ads from thegaminggang.com first. Christopher Rush says that Lori Lightfoot has the Innsmouth look. The Innsmouth taint. Isn't that what they called it? The taint? I got to be honest. I have not read, or I should say, I have not reread Lovecraft in probably about 3 or 4 years. I have listened to audio productions and audio books, but I have not read my huge tome that I've got probably about 5-6 years. So, all right. Christopher says, I dig those little worksheets. That's a nice addition. See if anything else I missed in chat. There was some more discussion about the Astral virtual tabletop, and a friend of the Madman's was using it, and they moved to Fantasy Grounds. I've got what is it? Lifetime license for Fantasy Grounds. I think it's all right. I don't really use virtual tabletops. I've played around with them a little bit, but I can definitely see the appeal, especially when we couldn't get together face to face, right? But Foundry is the one that really I really haven't dove into it to a great extent, but that's the one that I find to be most impressive. And they must have some sort of affiliation with my friends over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment, because I know Cubicle 7 tends to promote Foundry quite a bit. Like, all the Warhammer Fantasy roleplay stuff's on it. I think even the Doctor Who role-playing game is on it as well. So Flaming Huron says that they had to use virtual tabletops to keep playing games with friends when they moved away. Sure, of course. Simeon's with us in chat. Good to see you, Simeon. Thanks for swinging on in, although we're getting ready to wrap up. Let me grab a quick sip here. A whole lot of talking. My throat is dry. So don't forget, if you are tuning in a little bit late and you missed the news portion of the show, tomorrow I should be receiving the new Dungeons & Dragons Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel from Wizards of the Coast. I am going to make a special exception and do a live Thursday show. No news section. So we're just going to do a first look at it. It will be live tomorrow night, as long as it shows up on time. So I would say that's probably 95% probable that that's going to happen. So stay in the loop. Be sure to check out the community page here on YouTube. If something goes wrong and I'm not going to do the show around 6 o'clock, I will actually take the post down. So, because I am going to post it tomorrow, or maybe even later on tonight, that there's going to be a live look at the adventure supplement that's coming out, which hits stores next week. So Flaming Huron says Jeff's breaking the internet with a Thursday show. Yeah, it's me and Kim Kardashian's ass. Yeah, breaking the internet. So Simeon says they'll be watching tonight's rerun when it's up. Yeah, it usually takes a little bit of time for YouTube to process it in HD. But not as long as a video you upload, which is strange, because this is an upload going on right now. Anyway, all right, so stay tuned. If you follow me on Twitter, if you follow the Gaming Gang on Twitter, that's another way that you can find out if there's going to be a live stream tomorrow or not. Like I said, really, really good odds on that happening. So, what's happening next week? So, next week I will be going to Comic-Con. So, we are leaving probably Wednesday morning, possibly Tuesday evening. So, there's going to be a show on Monday and then nothing for the rest of the week. I am going to try to get some San Diego Comic-Con content up while I'm in San Diego. So, past couple of years, I've tried to get more content up while the convention's going on, rather than coming home like from Gen Con or Origins and having 15 videos I have to edit and do everything for. So, should be some Comic-Con stuff. I don't know what it's going to be honest, because I've got RSVPs for a bunch of different panels and round tables for the press. And usually you don't find out until maybe a couple of days before. There have been occasions, I think it was the Man in the High Castle that we didn't get notified until the day before. I think the Supernatural roundtable that I helped my best friend Elliot with, that was another one. It was like last minute approval. So who knows? But there'll be some stuff. Anyway, on Monday's show, I will be reviewing the index card role-playing game. Remember I did that Hard Suit news piece? And I mentioned I'll be reviewing the Master Edition. That'll be on Monday's show. I'm going to tell you what I think about this Rules Light D20 based role-playing game and who I think it's the best fit for. So I will be talking about that. We are going to do a live review. And then I also want to mention real quickly, the Hyperborea Kickstarter has fulfilled. So I am going to do a Hyperborea week. It might turn out to be the last week of the month. I might do that. So we'll look at the player's manual, the referee's manual, and then we'll do a little bit of a double dip with the first published adventure, which is the Late Trapper's Lament, if I remember correctly, as well as the Atlas. We'll be taking a peek at that. So, and then of course, the week after that, it'll be Gen Con. So I know I will have Gen Con content popping up while I'm there at the show. All righty. That is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my first look at Almoravid from GMT Games. Yes, it is the second release in Volku Runke's Levy and Campaign series. So if you are curious about that, by all means, check out that first look. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. If you hung out watching live, thank you. If you took part in chat, a bigger thank you, a big tip of the cap to you. But of course, I know a lot of people out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch the stream live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. I really just want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy life to watch this goofball. So much, much appreciated. Once again, thanks everybody for all the kind thoughts and get well wishes and prayers you've been sending my dad's way. It means a lot. Thank you very, very much. And fingers crossed that hopefully he'll make a full recovery soon enough. We don't know. Once again, could be weeks, could be months, but he's a tough cookie. I think he can pull this off. All right, everybody. So I'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same bat time, same bat channel. We are going to take a look at Dungeons and Dragons, Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel. And of course, here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. Check out the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, or find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for watching.